Our character's name is Humpty Dumpty. Has anyone ever heard of Humpty Dumpty? Okay, okay, voices off. I need one person to raise their hand and tell me about Humpty Dumpty. Lennon, do you know anything about him? Falls off of a wall. Does anyone know anything else about him, Anna? Yes, the kings and horses came. And what could they not do? Burgundy? Do you remember? Do you want us to do the song together? Does anybody know it? It's a nursery rhyme. Do you know it, Jameson?
He cracked.
He cracked. Okay, does anyone know the song? Let's do it together. It says, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Okay, so our story's about the same guy, but it's a little different. Is that okay? Okay, so I want you to start thinking about our story. And in our story, we have characters. Do we have a lot of characters in our story or not a lot of characters? Not a lot? Okay, I want y'all to think about who our character was, and we're going to fill in our chart. So think about it, and I'm going to call on someone, okay? Loretta, who was our character in our story? Humpty Dumpty. Good job. Did we have any other characters y'all can think of?
He was the main character.
He was the main character. Good job, Jack. Are there any more characters you can think of? Lennon?
When he turned into a bird.
When he turned into a bird. Yeah, that's kind of the same. We'll put / birds. Good job. I can't really think of any more characters. It was pretty much just about one. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about our setting. Our setting is where our story takes place. Where are some places in our story? Ben? The wall? That's a good one. We'll put the wall. What's another place in our story? Let's see. Kai, what's another place in our story?
Outside.
Outside. Good job. Okay. Anna, what's another place in our story?
The sky.
The sky. Good job, because he flies at the end. Okay, and we'll do one more place. Burgundy, what's another place in our story?
Inside.
Inside. Good job.
I was going to say that.
Okay. Now that we have our characters and our setting, we're going to talk about our story a little bit more. So first, what's the main thing that happened at the beginning of our story? What happened at the beginning? Jeremy? Oh, you're just stretching. I'm sorry. Kill, what happened at the beginning of our story?
It was fall.
It was fall. Good job. What else happened at the beginning of our story? Jameson, what happened at the beginning?
He was famous.
He was famous. You're right. Was he famous for something good or something bad?
Something good.
Something good? He fell off the wall. And
Something bad.
Something bad. You're right. What else happened? What happened at the beginning of our story? He cracked his shell. Good
He
job.
cracked his shell so he can turn into a bird.
Okay. Okay, at the beginning of our story, was Humpty Dumpty really happy or pretty sad? What do we think?
Pretty sad.
Sad, pretty sad. Okay.
Look how he got hurt.
Because he got hurt, you're right.
And at the beginning of the story, he climbed up the wall.
Climbed up the wall, good job. Okay, let's talk about the middle of our story now. What happens in the middle of our story? Anna? It's okay if you don't remember. There was a lot of things. Jameson, what happens in the middle of our story?
He was afraid of heights.
He was afraid of heights. Good job.
That was a good one.
Okay, what else happened? Lennon?
He couldn't get the best cereal.
He couldn't get the best cereal. You're right. I know. What else happened in the middle, Tristan?
He might make more accidents.
He had more accidents? Yeah. When he was cutting his fingers, all sorts of stuff. Okay. Was he working on making his plane in the middle of the story?
Yeah.
He got an idea and he made a plane?
Yeah. And it was like a bird a lot. And then he turned into a bird at the end. No,
We're not done yet. Okay. I need voices off. Okay, we're going to go to the end of our story now. Jameson, what happens at the end?
He wasn't afraid of heights.
He wasn't afraid anymore. Good job. What else happened at the end of our story? Ben, what happens at the end?
He turned into a bird.
He turned into a bird. Good job.
And he learned how to fly.
And he learned how to fly. Perfect.
That's all of it.
Okay. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about, that's probably good for our story. Y'all did super good remembering everything that happened. The next thing we're going to talk about is something called a theme. So a theme is whenever we read a story and the character learns something or we learn something. So we're going to start with our character, Humpty Dumpty. What would you say the biggest thing is that he learns by the end of the story? What do you think, Loretta? Yes, you're right. He cracked the shell and fell off. So he was kind of sad. But then what happens at the end? What does he learn, Tristan?
Flying.
How to fly, you're right. He learns to not be afraid, and then he's able to fly.
Chicken buck. Chicken buck.
Okay, good job. So now we're going to talk about something that we can learn from the story. What can we learn from the story, from Humpty Dumpty? What do you think, Glennon? They did go to him to fix him, you're right. What do you think, Kai? Is there something big that we can learn that helps us in our life? What do you think?
Never climb a wall.
Never climb a wall. That's a good one. You're right. That would be a good theme. There's one in my brain. Let's see if we can think of it. What do you think, Anna? And then I'll help you out. Never ever climb a wall. Y'all are silly. Okay, last one, and then I'll help you out. What do you think?
Never try to fly.
Never try to fly, but he flies. So what do you think?
Fly my kitten.
So if Humpty learns to not be afraid and he can fly, do we also learn to not be afraid? Because once Humpty Dumpty stopped being afraid, he was able to fly with the birds that he loved, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one, huh? So we learn to not be afraid. And then there's one more thing that Humpty Dumpty does. In our story, he's really scared to climb the wall again. But does he do it at the end?
Yeah.
Does he try again?
Yeah.
That's a good thing that we can do in our life. And try again. Okay,
Fly again.
so Humpty Dumpty learns to not be afraid and he can fly. We learn to not be afraid and to try again. Draw a picture to show what Humpty learns at the end of the story. What was our big word for what we learned in the story? Does anybody know, Anna? He did learn how to fly. It's called our theme. So we're going to draw a picture for our theme. So what does Humpty learn? He learns to not be afraid and that he can fly, right? So pick one of those things and we're going to draw a picture in the box right here for it, okay?
What thing?
That Humpty learns to not be afraid and that he can fly. So draw a picture for Humpty learning that, okay? At the end of the story, so you can draw Humpty flying, you can draw him standing on the wall, but I want you to draw a beautiful picture in these pretty, pretty colors, okay?
I'm just
Can y'all do
drawing
that?
a pencil, then I gotta color it back. I'm going to try to get on the wall.
Okay, good idea. Okay, so work quietly and raise your hand when you're finished.